Sometimes, love doesn't ask for forever. It just waits, quietly, for the right moment to begin again. Tonight, under the soft glow of autumn rain, we open the doors to a place where hearts find their way home. You're listening to Love and Us, where every heartbeat tells a story. Rain continues softly, fading into the first line of part 1. Soft rain patters outside. Golden light spills through a fogged cafe window, where carved pumpkins flicker gently in the corners. Autumn had arrived quietly in Willow Creek, the kind of small town where time slows down and the scent of cinnamon floats through every open door. On the edge of Main Street sat the Pumpkin Café, a place that felt like it belonged to another time. Every October, the owner filled the windows with lanterns carved by local kids. And every October, the same carved smile greeted her at the door. Her name was Lila. She wasn't supposed to be there that night. Her train had been delayed by the storm, her phone had died hours ago, and the only light left on the street came from that little cafe with the orange glow. When she pushed open the door, a bell above her head chimed softly, and the smell of pumpkin spice and roasted coffee wrapped around her like a warm blanket. She shook the rain from her coat, brushed the damp from her hair, and looked up. That's when she saw him. Behind the counter, a man with rolled-up sleeves was polishing a coffee cup, humming quietly to himself. He looked up, and for a moment, it was like he'd seen a ghost. Evan. They hadn't seen each other in 7 years. Not since high school. Not since that one night by the river when she promised she'd write, and never did. Lila. His voice was half disbelief, half memory. She smiled nervously. Aban. Guess some things never change. Still working nights? He laughed softly, setting the cup down. Only during pumpkin season. I bought the place 3 years ago. Her eyes widened. You own it? He nodded, wiping his hands on a towel. Yeah. Guess I wanted to build something that didn't leave. You know. There was a silence, comfortable and fragile all at once. The kind that says everything words can't. He motioned toward a seat by the window. Sit down. You look like you could use something warm. She hesitated, then smiled. You still make that cinnamon pumpkin latte? He grinned. Best in town. Still on the house for old friends. Steam rises from a mug as rain whispers against the glass. For a while, they just talked, about everything and nothing. About the people they'd known, the dreams that had faded, and the way time had a cruel sense of humor. Outside, the Halloween decorations glowed through the fog, little orange faces flickering with laughter. Lila wrapped her hands around the cup and sighed. It's funny. I almost didn't come back. This town holds too many ghosts. Evan leaned forward, his eyes soft. Maybe some ghosts just want to be remembered. She looked up, and something in his voice made her heart ache in that old, familiar way. The cafe door creaked as wind pushed against it. A strand of fairy lights flickered. He smiled gently. You always hated storms. She laughed quietly. Still do. But maybe they don't bother me as much when someone else is here. For the first time in years, they weren't two people running from the past. They were just two hearts sharing warmth while the world outside faded into rain. The clock above the counter ticked softly. Midnight approached. Evan poured another cup, sat across from her, and said, You know, every Halloween, I carve one pumpkin for someone I miss. Never thought she'd walk back in the door. Lila's smile faltered, emotion catching in her throat. You didn't forget. He shook his head slowly. Never could. Outside, thunder rolled. Inside, two old souls sat in the glow of candlelight, their laughter mingling with a hum of rain and memory. And as the storm deepened, something else began to stir between them. Something they both thought was gone. Morning light spills through the cafe windows. The rain has stopped, but the scent of it lingers in the air, clean, cold, and soft. Lila woke to the sound of a kettle whistling. For a moment, she wasn't sure where she was, until she saw the flicker of carved pumpkins and the orange glow dancing on the walls. Evan stood behind the counter again, pouring hot water into a French press. His hair was a little messy, his shirt rolled up, his voice low when he said, Morning. You fell asleep halfway through your second cup. She blinked, embarrassed. Guess the storm wore me out. He smiled. You always did like falling asleep when it rained. She looked around. You let me stay. Of course, he said simply. Would have been cruel to send you out in that weather. Lila's lips curved softly. Still the same, Evan. He poured 2 cups of coffee and set one in front of her. The cafe was quiet, just the hum of the heater and the faint crackle of a candle wick. Outside, Willow Creek was waking up. The storm had cleared, leaving puddles that reflected the morning sun. And in the distance, townsfolk were already stringing up orange and white lights for the annual Lantern Festival. Evan followed her gaze. You remember that? The Lantern Walk? She nodded slowly. How could I forget? We were supposed to go, the year I left. He leaned against the counter. You disappeared 2 days before. No note. No goodbye. Just gone. She looked down at her coffee. I know. A silence stretched, not angry, but fragile. Then, she whispered, I thought if I left quietly, it'd hurt less. For both of us. Evan's eyes softened. Did it? She shook her head, tears glinting in the morning light. No, not even a little. For a while, neither spoke. The cafe filled with the sound of quiet, shared memory. Then Evan cleared his throat. Well, lucky for you, the festival's tonight. Maybe you can make up for missing it. Her eyes met his. You're inviting me? He smiled, just a hint of the boy she remembered. I could use some help setting up. The cafe always puts out a pumpkin display. Besides, I never turn down free labor. Lila laughed, a sound she hadn't made in a long time. You're terrible at asking for help. And you're terrible at saying no, he teased. The air had turned crisp. The street outside the cafe buzzed with people hanging lanterns, setting out treats, and tuning violins for the evening parade. Lila and Evan worked side by side under the awning, carving the final pumpkins for the cafe's display. Still got it, Evan said, squinting at her lopsided creation. She rolled her eyes. It's supposed to be whimsical. He chuckled. It's supposed to have eyes that match. They both laughed, the kind of laughter that melts the years between people. When they finished, the cafe glowed with a soft orange hue. Lila stepped back to admire it. It's beautiful. Evan brushed a smear of pumpkin off her cheek, his touch gentle, hesitant. So are you. For a moment, neither moved. Then he pulled his hand back, clearing his throat. I mean, beautiful work. The pumpkins. The display. She smiled, a blush rising. Sure, Evan. They worked in silence after that, not uncomfortable, just full of everything they weren't saying. As twilight approached, the town came alive. Music floated through the streets. Children ran by in costumes. Lanterns flickered in the windows, and the air smelled of caramel apples and smoke. Lila turned to him. You're still going tonight, right? Evan hesitated. I usually just stay here. Watch from the window. She frowned. You used to love it. He shrugged. Hard to love something that reminds you of who's missing. Lila took a step closer. Then maybe you just needed someone to walk with you again. He looked at her, really looked, and something in his expression softened. All right, he said quietly. One walk. Outside, the last light of day glowed behind the hills. The pumpkins were lit, the lanterns swayed in the wind, and the town was ready for the night to begin. And as Lila took his hand beneath the cafe's glowing sign, she realized she wasn't just coming back to a town. She was finding her way back to a promise. The evening air shimmered with light. Hundreds of lanterns swung gently from strings tied across Main Street, their golden glow spilling onto the cobblestones like fallen stars. The town of Willow Creek had transformed. Laughter echoed between brick walls, music from a fiddle drifted through the crisp night air, and every window glowed with the warmth of Halloween. And through the crowd, hand in hand, walked Lila and Evan. For a while, They didn't speak. They didn't need to. The sound of their footsteps and the rhythm of their shared heartbeat said everything silence couldn't. Lila looked around, her eyes reflecting the candlelight. "It's still the same," she whispered. "The lights, the music, it's like no time passed at all." Evan smiled faintly. "Some things don't want to change. They just wait." She glanced up at him. "Did you wait?" He hesitated, his gaze softening. "Every October, I told myself I wouldn't. But then I'd carve that pumpkin anyway. The one with the crooked smile, yours." Her breath caught. "You remembered the one I made in high school?" He nodded. "Still have it. I kept the carving pattern. Guess I was waiting for you to walk through that door again." Lila stopped walking. The lantern light framed them in gold. "Evan, I didn't mean to leave the way I did. My dad got sick that week, and everything happened so fast. I thought I'd come back, but I couldn't face what I'd done." His expression softened with realization and pain. "You thought I wouldn't understand." Tears welled in her eyes. "You always understood. That's what made it harder." He took a deep breath, his voice low. "You could have called. I would have come." "I know," she whispered. "And that's why I didn't. I was scared that if I saw you again, I'd never leave." Evan looked down, his thumb brushing hers gently. "You could have stayed. I would have built this cafe for both of us." Lila smiled sadly. "Maybe I needed to get lost before I could find my way back here." The music swelled around them, slow, tender, like an old waltz remembered by heart. Couples danced between the lanterns. Children laughed as they chased their shadows. Evan looked at her, really looked, and the world fell away. "Lila," he said softly, "I never stopped loving you." The words hung between them like a breath too sacred to touch. Her tears shimmered under the light. "You weren't the only one." He stepped closer, the space between them glowing with warmth and history. The smell of pumpkin spice, the hum of laughter, the sound of rain beginning again. Soft, steady, as if the night itself was blessing them. Lila whispered, 7 years late, but maybe right on time. Evan smiled, that familiar, quiet smile she had fallen in love with once upon a storm. He lifted his hand, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Then let's not waste another minute." Their foreheads touched. The world melted into light, and beneath the glow of the lanterns, surrounded by the laughter of strangers and the scent of autumn, they kissed, slow, certain, and full of everything they'd waited years to say. When they finally pulled apart, the cafe's clock chimed in the distance. Evan whispered, "The night's still young." Lila smiled. "So are we." They walked back to the Pumpkin Café, hand in hand, the rain softly tracing silver lines on the glass. Inside, the carved pumpkins flickered, and on the counter, one candle burned brighter than all the rest. Because some love stories don't end with goodbye. They begin again, when the rain returns, and the heart remembers its way home. In the warmth of that little cafe, they found what time had stolen, and love, once lost, returned with the rain. Because sometimes, coming home isn't a place, it's a person. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Love and Us, where every heartbeat tells a story.